Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Massive Beer Review Classics. It's some of my favorite stuff going on right now. Don't get to do them a ton because it's got to be old schoolers that I have or have not reviewed before, but stuff I get a hankering for. And today I just happened to find two big, huge bomber of beers, and I figured I'm feeling saucy. Let's do them both in the same night. Samichlaus Barrique. It has been, let's see, what do we got? 211. My 211th review is this beer. I have here aged 2014, which I don't know if is correct because it says limited edition bottle brewed in 2013. Let me click it open and see what it has to say because I think these are all brewed in the same time, or maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. We don't know. So we'll see what's what. Yeah, the bottle that I'm actually reviewing says 2013. So I don't know why I have 2014 in the title because I suck. Anyway, so yeah, you're talking about 2015 is when I reviewed it. So you're talking it had 2 years on it. And that was 8 years ago. We're in 2023. November 2023. So we're almost in 2024. That puts this beer at 10 years old. It is Samichlaus. It is their, I believe it's their classic. But then it's aged in, where is it again? 10 months in steel tanks. And then 5 weeks in used oak barrels from the winery Anton Bauer in Fjorensborn. Yeah. Schloss, Eggenberg. Imported by Wetton Importers, Sterling, Virginia. 14% alcohol. Why do I do this to myself? Yeah, who doesn't want a bomber? 750 milliliter of 14% alcohol by volume beer. Bottled in 2013. I love Samichlaus. With the very big asterisk of it needs time. 10 years. It's kind of wheelhouse for Samichlaus. Now, it was aged in wine barrels, so there could be a tart Venice thing that this turned into vinegary-ish, kind of not so goodiness. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We're going to find it out right now. Let's read the stuff. 14%, Samichlaus Barrique, limited edition bottle 2013. Samichlaus is brewed once a year on December 6th. And is aged for 10 months. Okay, 10 months in steel tanks and 5 weeks in used oak barrels from a winery in Anton Bauer in Friesenberg. This special lager is perhaps the rarest in the world. Samichlaus may be aged in a bottle for many years. Older vintages become more complex with a creamy, warm finish. This beer can be served with hearty, robust dishes and desserts, particularly with chocolates, or as an after-dinner drink by itself. Aperitif. So let's do the math. It's brewed once a year on December 6th. I don't know if that's true nowadays, but on the bottle it was. 10 months. So we're going to, 12 months minus, December, November, October of October. So the following year, October, and then 5 weeks. So we're in November. And it says limited edition bottled in 2013. So technically, maybe that's why I have this written like this on here. No, that wouldn't make any sense. No, it wouldn't make any sense. I probably misthought the opposite way. Is that it's technically brewed a year or so before. So it's bottled in 2013. So it's actually brewed in 2012. It's called a bottle opener. We need one. Come on. Okay. Not a big hiss, but it was like a quick pop. So I'm okay with that. Pour it aggressively. Oh, that is a good head. So we are definitely okay from an oxidation, or like a leaking standpoint. I'm not saying oxidation because you can still have a decent amount of oxidation. Really unique cap here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that in hyper detail. Hopefully my camera's pretty good. But I've never seen a cap like this before. I mean, I've opened this before, so I've seen this cap, but I don't think I've analyzed it all that much. It looks like kind of like very much like a Hill Farmstead cap. If you've ever had Hill Farmstead beers, they use these kind of sealed, grommeted, trying to get a little bit of shadow in there so you can see, oh, okay, that's probably the best look you're going to get. It has this lip to it, like it has this outer ring that looks like it's there to prevent any kind of leakage or any kind of, in or out of oxygen or whatever. And I think that's actually one of the nicest caps I've ever seen. It makes all the sense in the world, to be perfectly honest with you, if you want to long haul age a beer. So kudos on them for using a cap. As far as the beer goes, I'm not gonna lie to you, that is looking fantastic. You have a nice kind of ribbon head. If I give it a jiggle, it's probably gonna come all back, decently back at least. And if you think of Samichlaus classic coloration, it comes off very much, they call it a Doppelbock, but to me it's more barley wine, Doppelbock as a barley wine kind of thing. It is very much not murky like this. This has a murkiness to it that is, you can't really get light through it. It has this rich darkness to it that is, it's not that Samichlaus isn't a dark beer. And we're talking about a classic here, because that's what I think the beer is. They don't really call it out, but it's definitely not Schwarz's, because I think this actually predates even that existing. So you have your classic, and then the other one. And it has this murkiness to it, and it's probably the murkiness that does it, but murkiness to it, and darkness that it's a little bit shades lighter. Or shades darker, I should say. So it looks the part of what I want an aged Samichlaus to look like. Let's get a nose. This is going to tell. It's going to tell. Smells so good. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, man, it smells really good. Wow. It Scripps Spelling Bee. Have you ever watched it? Have you ever participated in the Spelling Bee? Anyway, the biggest faux pas, the biggest thing you can't do in a spelling bee is use the word of the thing that you're trying to define in the definition of the word. So if someone says, define apple for me, well, an apple is an apple, that's an apple of an apple. You just can't do that. It's hard to talk about Samichlaus because I think it's such a unique beer that it's hard to say it smells like Samichlaus. It's not a thing that you have to almost have had this beer before in order to understand the beer. It's one of those weird things. Now there's people who make homages to this beer and they do a really good job of it. If you ever see your Froggy Claws from the Frog Brewery, Hopping Frog, that's it. They do a killer version. Their homage, their interpretation of Samichlaus, they do a really great version of it, but it's so few and far between. Because it's such a unique beer. So when you smell this, all I want to do is be like, it smells like an aged Samichlaus, which gives you zero to go on. It gives you absolutely nothing in frame of reference or any descriptor that you could be like, okay, what, you just used the beer in the description. I don't know what you're talking about. So I always liken Samichlaus to almost like a slightly more alcohol. I shouldn't say that because I think it's higher in ABV, but like plum wine. Japanese plum wine is very, very similar as far as just its core ethos, its core being. But at its inception, like if you get a fresh Samichlaus, it kind of skirts the lines of a plum wine kind of vibe. It's almost like a liquor, but it has a carbonation to it, so it's kind of weird. This is kind of when it gets age on it, and obviously when it's spent time in oak and tempered a bit of the edges, and that wine has maybe cast a little spell of slight tart vinousness on it, it becomes something quite a bit different. And that different to me is aged Samichlaus. I can't get away from trying to do that. I want to think creme brulee. Creme brulee in a very undersweetened fashion. Creme brulee I know I use this descriptor a lot, and I don't want to, but I think it's so apt. Blackstrap molasses. That is the thing here. So it's almost like substitute a decent portion of your base brown sugar / caramel in a creme brulee with a blackstrap molasses, and that's very, very, very much what I'm getting here, which is this richer, darker, slightly earthy, herbalish spiciness kind of to it that comes off very, very, very much barley wine like, but neither American nor English. It's very almost like someone who loved, again, plum wine / red wine, took their knowledge of making those things and tried to make their own version of barley wine. And they were just like, that flavor profile. It has much to do with wine and red grape and plumminess than it does maltiness. That's where it really comes from me, but in a very aged kind of manner. Again, it's not tart, at least on the nose. It doesn't give you any kind of precursor of tartness or any of these kind of wine-like kind of tannicness. It's more of just the earthiness and the spiciness of the way it kind of comes off in combination with the way the maltiness of the beer itself comes off. We've talked enough. We're just going to dive in. Well, we haven't talked enough just about the nose. We're going to dive in. Cheers. That is so goddamn tasty. Good God. Man. That is really good. Wow. This is the best Samichlaus I've ever had. Because it's pulling off a couple cool tricks. So it's giving you this rich aged Samichlaus, which for me goes from that plum winey-esque kind of beer-like thing to kind of like, I guess I would say just like Euro barley wine is probably, even though it doesn't exist, it's kind of how it goes for me. But when I was talking about that blackstrap thing and that spiciness, that's where it really takes a twist. It has this really herbaceous spiciness. Stopping short of Jaeger, stopping short of Ricola, but kind of Venn diagramming, clipping the edge of that with a chocolatey thing, which is not something I've ever said about Samichlaus in my frickin' life, that makes this uniquely fantastic. That's really, really good. Like, really, really, really good. Wow. There's just the perfect amount of carbonation left over. I mean, you know, you look at it right now, it's flat. I mean, I give it a whirl, it's going to come back a little bit. But there's a really nice, to the point where I'm going to grab a cork or something and put in here. Because it's going to drive me insane if I don't. Because I want to retain all that carbonation I possibly can. Let me put this in there. Because this is just a gem. An absolute gem of a beer. And where it's sitting. Because this is what I think about. And this is a good conversation to have. So let's cover the beer so we can talk about the other stuff. So if you want to leave, you can leave. So viscousness and mouthfeel, it's very, very beautiful. It's very much kind of like what you'd want from a rich American or English style barley wine as far as mouthfeel goes. Nice carbonation, not lively by any stretch. One of the times where that just south of, I guess you would say, proper carbonation is working for me. Taste wise, the malt, an attack on the senses of malt, an absolute cornucopia of maltiness from all different directions that touch on so many different things. From just there's a roasty toastiness in the malt, there's a nice richness to the malt, there's a little bit almost like coffee-likeness to the malt, and it just kind of sifts into this area that is very much kind of if you took Jägermeister and mixed it with a bunch of whatever you make sugar daddies out of, added a dollop of darker chocolate, and made a sugar daddy out of it, then it's kind of like that. It has this spiciness, this herbaceousness to it. Again, stopping short of Jaeger, stopping short of Ricola. But again, just clipping the edges of what those have and what those vibes are, it has that going for it. And this really, it actually almost finishes dry for how sweet of a beer it is. And I'm sure the time spent in that oak and that wine has tempered that, add that little bit of tannicness from the wine, add that oak tannin from the actual wood itself, and just has, that's where that dryness is coming from. It just it's just so fun. It's a fun beer, and I can't wait to watch my overview of this because I'm curious to see where it lands. Oh man, this is fun. This is a really fun beer. Like dangerous too. You're talking 14%. I want to drink the crap out of this right now. That does not suck. That does not suck. I don't even know what else to tell you. Other than this is fantastic. If you see it, buy it. Especially if you like Samichlaus, if you like old beers. This is, you drink this, unless you get a turned bottle, that's weird. And that certainly can be the case. Especially when you're talking about oak barrel-aged, used wine barrel-aged beers. These definitely can turn sideways. This is a very, very gem of a beer in a very beautiful way. Absolutely fantastic. Worth, I think I paid like $21 for it. Absolutely 100% worth it. Like zero qualms paying that amount of money for a beer like this. So anyway, I don't even know what else to say other than goddamn. Like I said, if you've watched my channel in any form or fashion, or in a decent form or fashion over the years, you know my soft part in my heart for Samichlaus. I think it's one of the most amazing beers ever made. This is the best one I've ever had. End sentence. So let's talk about it. Is this one of the better Doppelbocks? Yeah, it would be Mount Rushmore, but it's not a Doppelbock. Aged beers that I've had is like, yes, Mount Rushmore status. Wine barrel aged beers, absolutely, without a doubt. Is it one of the more funner? I don't even know. It is. It owns a couple of faces on a couple different mountains. Put it that way. Value availability. 21. I think it was $21.99. I want to say for this. I picked it up with a bit of hesitation, going, oh. But I saw that 2013 staring me right in the gob, and I said, I gotta do it. And I'm glad it did. Glad it did. And I'll leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like aged beer, if you like Samichlaus, if you like barley wine, like plum wine, like wine, and you like aged stuff, and you like good stuff and tasty bevies, I think you'll like this. Hopefully enjoyed the review. Samichlaus, have you been to the brewery? Do they have a brewery you can drink? I don't even know. Have you had a bunch of other beers? Have you aged ones, old ones, new ones, fresh ones? Have you had this? Have you had this fresh? Have you had it old? And have you had it 10 years old? Have you had it recently? Please, down there, let's talk about it. So hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of Samichlaus Barrique. Hope we'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.